Spitfire. Strengths and weaknesses. Weaknesses. Engine cutting out. One of the most significant issues was the engine's tendency to cut out during negative gravity maneuvers. In earlier models like the Mark I, executing these actions caused fuel to rise to the top of the float chamber, starving the fuel valve and resulting in engine cutout. Upon leveling off, the pressure within the float chamber would flood the engine with an excessively rich fuel mixture, sometimes making it impossible to restart. This problem was ultimately solved through clever engineering. British engineer Beatrice Shilling proposed installing a brass ring within the engine as a stopgap to block the fuel from entering. Known as Miss Shilling's orifice, the RAE restrictor, a small metal disc with a hole in the middle, was a simple yet effective modification which reduced the fuel leak to a manageable level until pressurized carburetors were introduced. Insufficient numbers at the beginning. Initially, there were too few Spitfires, which was not a flaw of the aircraft itself, but a result of production delays. These delays were caused by indecision regarding the Spitfire's wing configuration and its relative complexity. R.J. Mitchell, the Spitfire's chief designer, worked on a hunch about the elliptical cantilever wing rather than a scientific demonstration of its effectiveness. This design choice, along with the fact that Spitfire production required twice as many work hours as German fighter production, hindered its early impact in the war. The real advantage of the elliptical wing turned out to be its low-induced drag at very high altitudes, such altitudes not having been considered during the design, but realized during the war. Center of gravity issues. Many pilots recalled incidents where Spitfires tipped onto their noses while landing, leading to crashes. This was due to the center of gravity being too close to the wheels. Despite this issue, the Spitfire's landing gear was not as problematic as the Bf-109's, which often caused ground loops, a rapid horizontal rotation of the aircraft while on the ground. Time-consuming construction. The complexity of the Spitfire's design also translated into lengthy production times. It took approximately 13,000 man-hours to produce a Spitfire, which was 2.5 times longer than the production time for a Hurricane. In contrast, it took the Germans only 4,000 man-hours to produce the equivalent Messerschmitt Bf-109. Fuel capacity. Although the Spitfire continued to improve in speed and armament, its limited fuel capacity restricted range and endurance. Strengths. Excellent maneuverability. The Spitfire was renowned for its excellent maneuverability and agility. It could outturn and outclimb many opponents, offering superior high-altitude performance. Another advantage the Spitfire had over the Messerschmitt Bf-109 was its superior turning radius. This was largely due to its elliptical wings, which generated a substantial amount of lift with minimal drag. Consequently, the Spitfire could execute sharper turns with greater efficiency. In contrast, the Bf-109's straight wings were less efficient at producing lift and providing low-speed stability. Additionally, the Bf-109 required high speeds to maintain lift due to its cumbersome wing design. The Spitfire's high power-to-weight ratio also contributed to its quick acceleration and ability to maintain speed during tight turns. These factors made the Spitfire exceptionally effective at outmaneuvering and dogfighting, surpassing many of its contemporaries. Speed. The Spitfire was significantly faster than many other fighters of its time, including the German Bf-109. It featured a powerful 1,000 horsepower Rolls-Royce PV-12 engine, supercharger, allowing the aircraft to reach speeds 25 to 30 miles per hour faster than its rivals. This speed advantage was particularly pronounced at altitudes above 15,000 feet, giving the Spitfire a critical edge. Superior high-altitude performance. Some Spitfires, such as the Mk9, were modified for high-altitude combat. For example, the Mk9 intercepted a Ju-86R at 43,000 feet over Southampton on September 12, 1942. On October 5, 1944, Mk9s of 401 Squadron became the first Allied aircraft to shoot down an Me-262 jet. The Mk9 remained in service until the end of the war, even after the introduction of the Griffin-powered Mk14. Adaptability. The basic Spitfire airframe proved to be highly adaptable, capable of accommodating more powerful engines and greater loads than initially anticipated. This adaptability led to the production of 24 marks of Spitfire, with many sub-variants developed throughout World War II and beyond.